listening to Your Worst Friend with Shane and Matt. I'm Matt. I'm joined today by my friend and co-host Shane. Shane.
Hello.
And this is Going Deeper Season 3. We are joined today by a performer that I recently only found. I got to be honest. I as married as I am and happy in my marriage, I know everything there is to know about porn. I am a genius when it comes to pornography. Kind of a photographic memory. If you've ever seen one of those football players that can like recall plays from the second week of the season, he's like, well, on third down in the first quarter, we blah, 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 blah. I can look at it and go, well, there was a gangbang in 2006. And, but this is the first time I'm finding this girl, this woman. I always say girl and it sounds creepy. But
very weird.
Everything I've seen so far, I love. We are joined today by Eliza Rae. Eliza Rae, hello. I am going to let me go through your plugs. I have a bad habit of spelling out every single one of them, so I'm going to give the people the way to spell your name right off the bat, and then use that. And I know our listeners are generally pretty dumb, but if they write it down, it's okay. They'll get it. Okay. Eliza Rae is ELIZA RAE. Okay. So if you want to follow her, you need to go to her Twitter, which is at Eliza Rae _XXX. If you want to go to her Instagram, which I like better, but I hate it because they crush you, girls, women. Women. Instagram just and I didn't realize it when we first started talking to you. I was always like, why do they not have matching names? It drives me nuts. How many Eliza Rays are they? Oh, that's because she's had 12 accounts before this one. So follow her latest one. And when this comes out, I'm sure it'll change 2 more times between now and then. But her Instagram is Eliza Rae _plays, PLAYS. And for the good content, the good stuff, you want to go to OnlyFans. And you're going to go to the Eliza Rae. So, Eliza, thank you very much for joining us today. We're happy to have you.
For having me.
So, let's start with the basics. How did you get into the industry?
I started doing hair and makeup for Black Ambush. Just a few scenes here and there, and I was like, got some advice from them because I had a video that I didn't consent to being out there put on Pornhub, and it had like 1.3 million views.
Oh, so it's a good one.
Yeah, it was little blowjob stuff. And then they were telling me that I could make a model account and take it back, maybe get the credit for it, or maybe the views would count towards me. And then that's when they took all this stuff down for whatever reason back in, was it 2020 December? And then I was like, fine, I'm just going to make some money because obviously, I can get the views.
Sure. So had you worked in any other form of like the sex industry before that? Did you ever strip? Did you ever work at No, nothing at all. You were just makeup and hair.
Not one person would want to watch me dance anyway. It was just be comfortable for everyone.
That's so let me ask, so then was it just hair and makeup that you did? And then you were like, fuck it, we'll do porn. Now, is that just a job? Yeah. You're just grabbing a job and then did you have fun on the set?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get to see them perform or do anything, but I've been in the swinger world for like 6 or 7 years. So I was familiar with, fucking in front of people. Sure. I like that. So it felt felt natural.
Sure. Black Ambush, interesting site. It's again, encyclopedia.
Sounds revolutionary.
Knowledge. Yeah. Well, what it was, the concept of it is definitely, it wouldn't, let's put it this way, it wouldn't fly the other way, I don't believe. But it's they bring in white girls and they're like, hey, you're just gonna like, now the newer scenes, I believe they start off like blowing the white producer and stuff, and it's like, cool, so this is how the scene's gonna be. And then
whoops, Isaiah Maxwell.
Whoops, a guy with a dick bigger than my head walks in. Yeah.
Oh, good.
He was the first talent that I met when I did the hair and makeup.
He is a hell of a talent too, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was weird because, the swinger world is like high music, lots of outfits and lots of energy. And then on set, it was like no music. And I was like, well, this is kind of boring. It's not very exciting.
Sucks.
So then, you know, the girl performs with a black guy, and it's like, oh, wow, taboo, revolutionary. But it is a good site, and they've hosted some girls that I would kill to get on, and I can't find them because they've only done like 2 or 3 scenes before. Hopefully we can get them on. What I would say though is it's a fun, like, take it back type of thing of, like, you know, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm a fan of the site, and I'm a fan of the makeup and the hair on the site. Let me put it that way too.
Nice.
Took back that word, and now we're taking their women.
There you go. We are a comedy-based show, just so you know.
I love it.
So you had that now when you had something against your consent put on there, let me ask you like a more serious question here. This is not a fair comp at all, but one time I had my car broken into and they like ruffled all my shit around. Is it violating to have yourself put on there, or were you so in the swinger lifestyle that you were just kind of pissed that you couldn't make money off of that at some point?
Well, at first, because it was quite a while ago that it was put on, so I wasn't really ready for things to be out there, because I do have kids, and so they were at an age where I didn't want them to find out. But I was just mad because they wouldn't take it down no matter what I said. But as soon as I made a model account and was like, hey, that's me. I even had the guy who was in it. He signed a model release form. He's like, yeah, let's take that shit back. And then they're like, oops, this violates our whatever because you didn't post it. And I was like, you guys, motherfuckers. So anyway,
we've you know, it's funny, we can't get monetized on X videos. We can't get monetized on YouTube because our videos get age restricted, even though we don't have any nudity. We just have conversations, because you know how big tech likes to fuck around with sex workers and any kind of discussion about them. Yeah, you're aware. You're on your
my vagina and your banner in the back there. So
that's gonna be
a little nudity.
We cover those up for the.
We cover it with your plugs, is what we're gonna do.
Oh,
and everything.
Yeah,
so,
I should lay that out.
So to finish Matt's point though, we can't monetize on YouTube because we talk about sex and that's too sexy. And we can't monetize on X videos because we don't have enough sex stuff. Like we don't show, you know, we don't censor anything on the X videos, but they're like, oh no, it's just you guys talking about sex and some sex stuff in the background. There's no actual fucking, so you can't make money off of it. So we're fucked either way.
Yeah, we're always. We're just complaining about we can't fucking monetize it. I mean, we do. We get, and it's funny because we get so many downloads and views and everything else, and it doesn't matter. But we grind along because we like the work, and it'll pay off in the end.
It's good work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Lord's work. Yeah.
So doing the Lord's work.
that's how I, you know, it's what I say every Sunday at church during my first session. So. You have been fairly or unfairly, you tell me, placed into MILF roles, which do you ever discuss your age or no? Because you look phenomenal for what I think your age might be, based on the research I've done.
I'll be 43 this year. I don't care.
Okay, all right.
Like, that's the goal in life, is to get older.
Sure, and still look good, which you
I
do.
just started doing porn in September of last year.
Really? Okay.
Too. So that's probably why you've never really seen me around. And I only started with my own content, and then I shot my first mainstream in December.
Sure.
So you're telling me there's hope for my wife?
Yeah, if she wants. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I gotta get her to that point.
I feel like I probably got a limited time, you know, to really build. So like maybe 3 years to make a name, and then hopefully it'll carry through when like maybe I'm a little too old for some of this stuff. But I mean,
I don't think there's any such thing as too old.
You know, I decided to start when I was 42, so I knew what I was doing when it happened.
Hey, and again, I mean, you were in the swinger lifestyle, you're having fun with this. let me ask you, we talked to Kat, one of our favorite girls from the first season.
And
she was also a swinger. She commented on the lifestyle in terms of sex is fun, but she said there were also negatives to the swinger lifestyle. She said everyone was there was a lot of kind of judgmentalness to it or materialism to it. Is that anything you've experienced or no?
I mean, I guess it depends on who you hang out with. Always different cliques. So I call those people the A team. They're a little too good for everybody. You know, the women, they're very wealthy, so it's all about their status and all of that stuff. And I don't know, those aren't my kind of people.
Dr. Swingers.
Totally fair.
Yeah,
Dr. Swingers, yeah.
exactly. Yeah. You know, and they're doing lines of ketamine and things like that. I mean, it's the same as everybody else in the, you know, swinger world. But I don't know. I protect my energy, so I don't try to be around people like that. And I also don't care what they think about me. Like, one time I went to this one party, I wore this dress I got at Goodwill, and all of the ladies were just like, "Oh my gosh, I love your dress." And I'm like, "Thanks, $5, Goodwill." And they were like, uncomfortable. So I don't know. I just don't necessarily care too much about what people think. So I guess I don't really pay attention to.
That's awesome. I mean, isn't that the way to go though? I mean, just you have to live your own life. You have to live your truth, if you will.
All these women at the swingers party, like, oh, that dress from the Goodwill, that's dirty, as they're getting fucking plugged by two other dudes who they've never met.
Which, you know, like, I would love to be plugged by two random
I mean,
dudes.
I would also, but it's just like
a lot of money on a dress that's gonna get sploosh on it.
There you go.
Right.
Fair point. Let me ask you, Eliza, what would you say your best physical trait is?
Well, everybody talks about the eyes, the peepers, and the booty.
Yeah, that's fair. I think both of those are very fair. Now again, sorry, I jump around too much, but I was saying you have been put into the MILF category. Let me ask this, and let me make a plea to the industry. Why have you not been teamed up in a mother-daughter scene with Megan Rain yet?
I don't know.
Do you know Megan Rain? Do you know what she looks like?
Do we look like mother-daughter?
Dude, I mean, hold on. I'm gonna share a picture. Ready?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No? Am I not seeing it here?
That's awesome.
Yeah, okay. It's very, it's uncanny.
Okay, all right. So you have
tell the powers that be. I don't know.
I think we need to put a campaign out there to get her to work with you, because I think that would be a phenomenal mother-daughter scene. You have a very much, I noticed when I first started looking at your Instagram thing, I don't know if it's your eyes, if it's the way you do your makeup, you have a Megan Fox look, which I think is what Megan Rain is also going for. I think you guys, and he'll fucking love me plugging this, maybe you two with Joshua Lewis, a good friend of ours.
Yeah, I love Josh.
Josh is the best. Maybe a little Dan Ferrari action. You ever work with Dan Ferrari?
I haven't.
He's a good dude too. Him and his wife Suzanne. Yeah.
And then follow him. I'm always out there like networking and like on Twitter, liking things and being like, you know, they're like, who should I fuck today? And I'll be like, me. And, you know, maybe one day they'll notice.
Let me ask you, how much, all right, so we've discussed this with other women before, but how much of the job is, I think younger girls come in with the expectation, or a different expectation, maybe not younger girls now actually though, but probably girls who are about 26, 27 came in with the expectation. I show up on set, I fuck, I go home, I get paid, good to go. How much of it is actually networking, social media, you know, getting your stuff out there, reaching out to people? Because you're right. Anytime I see on Twitter a male porn star put like, hey, gonna be in LA, who should I work with? You go under it and you just see this big name, this big name, this big name, this big name, everyone. It's like a feeding frenzy almost. So how much of your time is spent on the networking aspect of this? And obviously you said you just started late last year. How much time are you thinking you're going to have to dedicate to the networking aspect of this?
I would say 2/3 of your time.
Wow.
So I also have another business. I do hair and makeup. So, you know, how I built that was I spent, you know, 30 minutes a day in the morning, answering emails, stuff like that, 30 minutes working on social media, all of the different posts that I'm going to do. And then 30 minutes of education, like advancing what I know about it. So I tie that in, and I did that in a sales job before I started doing my own salon stuff. So I just brought it into this, you know. I would say most 80%, let's say.
Okay.
75
Yeah.
is
Imagine that. Imagine your job was an 8-hour day and you spent 16 hours driving every day
right.
to commute to it. I mean, that's crazy. You would literally never sleep. But yeah, I think so many girls coming in, and maybe no, again, the girls that are coming in now probably understand the importance of social media and understand the importance of promoting themselves and whatever. But there was also that time where you were 25, 26, 27 now, 8 years ago or whatever it was, they were coming in and going like, oh, just show up and whatever. And I wonder if there's a whole, this is going to sound very stupidly profound, but I wonder if there's a generation of girls that got lost to that.
oh,
Yeah.
I know, like when I was doing the hair and makeup, they advised me to get on Twitter.
Sure.
And to just start following people and seeing what they were doing, join the conversation with the spaces. That was also really cool. I'd hop on there and just listen to people who were giving like the industry advice and stuff like that. And I spent a lot of time educating and then building my own content first. So I actually had something for fans to come to. Once I did, I wasn't sure if I'd even get to mainstream. So I was just trying to build a library of content that I could essentially start building a fan base on Twitter and then drive them to, you know, wherever else. Mm-hmm. And so when I got the mainstream, then it feels like, okay, cool. Now I have, you know, 40 films on mini vids or whatever. And that's just since September. And I have probably like 15 that I still need to edit, but I'll even like, I'll spend time taking photos and I don't know, it's like all day long, you've got to do a little something. Like Crystal Davis, she's a super cool chick and she is always doing like stuff all day long. She's on her Instagram stories. She's posting every tiny little thing and she has such a great following. And people love to have that personal touch. So you have to.
Avery Jane, who we interviewed too, is always posting on her story. Joslyn Jane, another one we interviewed, is very, very interactive, always commenting back on the surveys on her story and stuff. I think that must help tremendously. It does. Yeah. I think we even asked about that when we had her on. Does it help a lot? Like if you're you know, playfully bantering with these guys and stuff to get a build a following?
Yeah, you have to be careful though, because
yeah,
you know, they think that you're promising a lot of stuff that you're just not comfortable with.
You got to like draw a line somewhere.
For sure. I mean, I'll take all of my experience in dealing with swinger husbands, like maybe like, you know, they could be inappropriate or pushy sometimes too. So I'll take that into, you know, my experience in dealing with a fan base and giving enough flirtation without, you know, crossing a certain line that encourages, you know, creepy behavior.
Right. That's interesting. You brought that up about swinger stuff. This is fucking stupid me. I always assume, you know, human nature, everyone will just turn out nice at the end. Do you have situations in the swinger lifestyle where it's like maybe a husband will contact you outside of any kind of parties or whatever?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And
if you're a cheater, you're a cheater. I'm sorry. Fix it. Sure. It just is. But I know so many people, couples who are really great and they play separately, they play together, but it's all on the up and up. And, you know, I have a lot of respect for that. But, you know, there's just people who are going to be liars and cheaters and shady, or they just have another avenue to do it and another way to manipulate the system.
Sure.
But I can screw it, so I don't really play into it too much.
There you go. Let me ask you, Ken, you don't have to obviously say the company, but what kind of sales job did you have before this, you said? Because I'll be honest, was it over the phone or was it in person?
It was in person.
Shit, I could not. You could drain my bank account if I came in and you're smiling with a beautiful smile and you have your big eyes and you're like, oh, by the way, you can definitely swing this Bentley. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know I can. Yeah, I have a podcast, so I should probably get a Bentley. That makes sense. Maybe two. Maybe I need a second one.
Talking people out of their money, like, you know, for tips and stuff like that. But yeah, it was in concrete cutting.
Oh, okay.
And I would talk to these, like, you know, construction guys or these homes, and I'd be like, hey, you got all these trip hazards, and we're basically the only company that can do this. And I'd go bid the property, but I'd have to, like, you know, finesse it and be like, okay, you know, you have to get this done or else the ADA is going to come along. And I don't know, they believed me, but I also believed in the product. So, like, what we were doing.
That's so important with sales. And I think that is probably why OnlyFans and stuff like that has taken off, because these women are good salespeople. But then at the same time, I couldn't sell shit if it was based on self-esteem and be like, you don't fucking want to subscribe to this shit. That's how I sell everything anyway. It's like,
Eddie,
you don't even want to come on. I'm just gonna go home, fucking be a loser.
you wouldn't even like this podcast, honestly. It's a piece of shit.
You don't even want concrete. Who gives a fuck about it? But use rebar.
That's my toxic trait. I'd be like, no, I'd like try to fix you about that. I'd be like, you.
So
you're good enough.
But that is so. And we've said this a million times, but I love so much that women have an avenue where if they choose to do it, they can literally make as much money as they want to make. There is a fetish for everything. You could be a mildly attractive or a bigger girl or whatever it is. You could be me. You couldn't be me. I wouldn't sell shit. You could be anything. There would
probably be a
There's no market for him.
Yeah. But you can, if you are willing to put in the hard work, it's a real meritocracy in terms of, hey, this person promotes, this person puts it out, this person does whatever, and she's able to capture this. And I think it's cool that there's a marketplace for it. I don't know. This is not anti-porn at all. Obviously, we do a whole series on it. I don't know if it's great because some of these 18-year-old girls may regret it later on, but you have to know that going in. And that's something we really like to reiterate to our audience. It's like if you're a younger girl getting into it, you have to know what you're getting into.
Listen, I have teenagers, and the shit that these teenage girls are sending my son, they know what they're doing.
Sure. Any of them 18, and can you forward them to me, please?
He's underage, and I.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, at this point he is underage, but I've had some really interesting conversations about that. I'm like, dude. Yeah. Anyway.
So, are you? Again, I won't go into depth, but you brought it up. Is it all boys you have, or any girls, or?
I have 2 girls and a boy.
Okay. How do you feel about following in the footsteps?
Oh, I would say one of them would definitely not be anywhere of the potential. She maybe my youngest might, but I don't know. I don't think so.
But how do you feel about
how do you feel about? Oh, I wasn't asking you to pitch it as a sales pitch. Like, which one of them can we get signed up?
It being like an issue, maybe if I don't know. I would just try and educate them as much as possible so they wouldn't get taken advantage of. It really, I think that's the other thing when you're younger, you know, you come in and you kind of can get talked into some stuff. You don't really know yourself very well, so you don't know what your no's and your yeses are to the extent of being able to stand up for yourself. Or some people find that standing up for yourself is like confrontational and they don't like confrontation. So I would just, if they did, you know, decide to do that,
Make you the agent.
Advice on, I don't have an opinion about it because I like, I'd be against it or I'd be for it. I would just address it if it happened. I mean, my kids know that I'm a pretty free-spirited person, and the conversations that we've had has been really uncomfortable. But you don't show like shock or anything. You're like, oh, okay, nice, okay.
You know, it'd be such a bummer though, is if one of them went into it and you were kind of like, okay, they're smart about it and whatever, but they were like into like something, like they were like, I want to shoot vomit porn so badly, and you were just like, oh, come on, just pick a normal
Just
thing.
pick good porn. Yeah.
Come on now, you don't want to puke all day. She comes
Make
home.
money though.
Yeah.
I mean, vomit porn is not something I in particular would go for. I would be like, hey, you should do the balloon stuff, you know, where you just play with balloons all day and
That's
like
interesting.
your outfit and
Let's take you for a pedicure. Let's get those feet looking nice, you know? There's a lot of guys out there.
choose wisely.
So let me
something that would be, I don't like a lot of the demeaning stuff, so I don't choose to be in that kind of a shoot because that's just not how I want to have my image out there.
Brand,
it's like no judgment to somebody else who does it. It's just not the right energy for me.
Sure. I think that's so cool about the industry too, where it's like you women are very much like, I don't know. So I've seen some fights where it looks like it gets a little judgmental, but about the work itself, it doesn't seem so much judgmental. It's kind of just, hey, you know, we're putting it out here. I'm making money. You're making money. Let's just shut up about it. Now, you get in a fight on set or something like that, that's a different issue. But I wonder, have you heard, is there shit talking behind the scenes about someone that, like, you don't have to say names about, but you can, about someone that, like, you know, does something horrible and you're kind of like, oh God, that girl's into that. Ooh, weird, strange.
I haven't heard any of that, but I have only been on like 7 professional shoots. And I mean, yeah, maybe like the makeup artist will say like a little bit of, but usually it's the guys kind of talking crap about other guys. Like it's, you know, it's like a pissing match, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit separated from that, I don't know, vibe, because I'm just so much older than almost all of them. And I'm like, yeah, you know, kids, go do your thing. It's fine.
You bring a wisdom to the whole thing.
Hey, yeah, exactly.
So we do a little game on this that we like to call SAC, and that is because the first few girls we interviewed, we asked, what we like to do is ask something you would never do on a scene and something you would, I always say it wrong, but take a discount to do on a scene, meaning you'd be so encouraged by what the scene is, even if it didn't hit your quota, you'd be like, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll do that scene. We call it SAC because every girl we've ever started with, SAC stands for shit, animals, and kids. Every girl we ever started with is something, what wouldn't you do? And they always go, well, I wouldn't fuck any kids. And we're like, yeah, we know. Like, obviously. Like, those 3 are out. Unless, you know, someone's really into scat. But those 3 are out, obviously, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes.
Okay, there's no Doberman in the other room waiting for you, right?
It's a funny story, but
Oh boy.
We'll go into that later.
Okay, all right. So what is something that, now you said demeaning, is there anything where you go, nah, no? So the example I always use is Sara Jay. Sara Jay, notoriously for shooting over, probably over 1,000 scenes at this point, has never shot anal, has never done it in her personal life, just won't do it. She says she's received offers of $10,000, $20,000 for a scene. No, not doing it. Is there anything where you go, no amount of money am I doing that?
I haven't totally, I don't like the stuff where it's like so like abusive, like really hardcore, where it's like demeaning to me as a woman. Like I'm doing it as an empowerment, and I'm not doing it out of desperation or anything like that. So I just don't want to be made to feel like I'm a worthless piece of whatever. So that's a really like, yeah,
It's commendable.
Okay.
People when they just tear a girl up, and then they're so like she's crying, and it's just like awful experience like that. Just it's not for me.
Totally cool. And that's what's great about it. It's your right, and you make that decision. But what is something on the other end of the spectrum where your normal quote is X amount and someone comes to you at 20% less and you go, yeah, no, I'll still take that.
Your dream scene.
Yeah, your dream scene.
A dream scene.
In terms of a niche or a type of scene.
The gangbang stuff. Like I really want to do stuff like that. So
you heard it here, folks.
I'd like you to too. That would be great, because those are some of my favorite scenes. Let me
watch when I first started watching porn was like the gaming scenes with Lexington Steel and stuff.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Love Lex.
I used to like several Lexington Steel dildos.
We just bought one. Well, I paid.
Not Shane and I. Shane and his wife.
You guys are really close.
I paid for it. She uses it.
Yeah.
I gawk.
Yeah, like it's fun.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. You cut off there. What was that?
I said maybe one day I'll meet him.
Hopefully.
Bucket list.
See, you know what? There's a gray line there in kind of what you said, because in the demeaning, more abusive stuff, for sure, it leaves a girl broken, like you said, and whatever. But in gangbang scenes, there's also a thing where at the end you watch a chick and she's just
broken.
She's been properly used. No, it's a difference.
Okay.
There's when they're breaking your spirit, and they're like, I don't know, they like want you to just feel like the lowest person. But like in a gangbang, you kind of are like the queen who just gets totally satisfied in every way.
There was no dirty words in that. There was no cursing in that. May have been the sexiest thing ever said on Going Deeper, when she said she was, not you, but just the girl in the scene is properly used. That was, there was something hot about that.
That was up there. That's top 3 with Gage referring to our joke as the money shot, and Avery Jane saying she loved to piss.
Yeah. She is a hoot. I follow her closely. I think she's great. Really built a great career too in a short time. So
yeah, she's awesome. She's great. So all right, do you have any sites in mind? Maybe we'll tag this on the social media, because I got a couple for you, just top of my head. But you let me know yours.
I really would like to do Gangbang Cream Pie.
Boom, 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 boom. That's the one I was going to say. Winner.
Yeah. I love cream pies.
Sure. Who doesn't?
I don't know. I don't know why guys always ask, can we cream pie? I was like, do people say no?
All right, this is a little personal information. My wife recently had to go off birth control, and it's been a real bummer fucking lately, okay? It's been a real bummer. Not her fault. Look, it's her body. I understand it was making her feel sick. She couldn't go to a different one. That's fine. But let me tell you, I had 13 years of it. My favorite thing in the world.
Yeah. Well, I had 3 C-sections, and at the end of the 3rd one, I was like, you need to tie these tubes up, because I can walk everywhere and get pregnant. Like, I was on birth control and got pregnant. So I was like, this is not happening. I'm done. Because I had 3 kids in 3.5 years. So I was...
And now you're Cream Pie City for life.
Yeah, well, and then also in 2013, I had an ablation. So they burnt out the lining. So just to like extra
What's an ablation?
With laser, they burn out the lining of your uterus, so you don't even have a monthly period. It's
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah.
That's fucking, that's rad. Yeah, that's fucking dope as fuck. I'm gonna start shooting my little laser pointer in my wife's hoo-ha when she's sleeping.
Yeah.
Burn out her uterine lining.
I actually think that's how they do it. So,
they come in your house while you're asleep with a fucking laser pointer from Spencer's Gifts and burn your fucking cooter while you're asleep.
That's good.
You're like, honey, I feel a little weird today.
So one of the scenes I have up in the background here, another favorite site of mine, is Glory Hole Swallow.
Oh, love that one.
Yeah.
I just did it with them.
You just did another one with them? Okay. I will be on the lookout for that. Let me ask you, how difficult, all right. See, the weird thing is I like that site because it's all like real chicks. Like it's shot in almost an amateur way. It's not too lit or anything like that. There's no, and no disrespect to you or Josh Lewis for your scene. There's no silly acting. We're just boom, we're in it, Nice gonzo work. But how hard, I mean, do you like glory holes? I've never been into them in terms of porn. Yeah?
I love it. It's fun.
Is it the anonymity of it?
Yeah, exactly. I like the randomness. I like it's on the taboo side, but it still is like, still control.
You ever get a real gross comer?
Yeah.
What do? You just power through?
Yeah. I'm an okay. Hello. A little thick.
So that's another. All right, and again, I don't want to break up. We had Marica Hase on, Marica Hase, who did a lot of Japanese porn, a lot of
bukkake stuff, and
Gukon stuff, and she didn't want to spoil the mystique of chugging 90 loads, but I think there was the implication that maybe it was a little
staged.
A little bit. With this one.
I'll swallow it, sure.
Oh, that's what I mean. I was about to say that. I mean, it goes back and forth, and there's not really a lot of cuts in that. What does your stomach feel like at the end of that?
Not bad. I don't know. Some crackers at the end to kind of stabilize the pH in my stomach.
Yeah, just make it slosh around a little less.
They treat you like you just donated blood. They give you some crackers, some cookies, and some orange juice. Get those electrolytes back in there. Yeah, you're good to go.
And then they give you a fucking $35 credit on your debit card.
Hey, listen, it's good. I don't know. I don't have a weak stomach. I can eat pretty much anything anyway. So.
Okay, that's fair. Have you seen, again, very few sets, but you've worked on a few. Have you, and you don't have to use names or sites even, but when you say you have a strong stomach, that took me to drinking. Have you seen anything unprofessional on set where you're just like, oh my God? I always think if I was a chick who was shooting porn at 18 or 19 or 21, let's say, because we'll pretend like we're being legal here, I would be like, well, I'll just get trashed beforehand, which you absolutely cannot do. You can't show up on set drunk, right?
They actually are like, are you under the influence? And, you have to say yes or no.
Have you seen any instances of a chick where you're kind of like, come on, man, you got to pull your shit together?
I've only worked with Katie Kush on set. That's only, and that was with Oliver Faze and Katie Kush. And she's super professional. Like, it's not but I have heard of people like, they'll talk about, some young girls, they'll come on set and it's just so you can just tell that they're high or whatever, and they just look out of it and it's just not good. Right. So I don't know. I don't even really drink except for socially myself. And this is how I felt about the swinger world. Like, a lot of people, they do so many drugs and drink a lot. And I'm like, if you have to get that out of your mind to do all this stuff, then maybe you're actually not very comfortable with it.
Maybe you're not a real swinger.
Okay, if you got to get all fucked up about it.
It could be a real swinger, but I don't know. Maybe you need to have a conversation with your spouse. Like, are you really into this, or are you just doing it?
There you go.
You said something about a dog earlier. Let's get that story if we could. And Shane, we're getting a little bit of clipping, not anybody's fault. I'm going to say let's sit back and shut up and let this story flow. What was the dog story, if you would, Eliza?
I'm going to, here, how do I sanitize this so that people will not be outed or somebody?
No, unsanitary is fine.
Somebody that I was in a relationship with who had asked me if he could watch me get fucked by a dog. And so then I called my parents the next day and said, I want to go home. And they were like, we're ready. So I left.
Did you do the dog thing though in the intro?
Oh, no. But it was prefaced with, you can go onto this website where you can get a sleeve for your cock that simulates a dog penis and how it hooks inside, and you have to relax your vagina to let the sleeve out, and or the cock sleeve that they're wearing. So then he was like talking about that. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. He's like, or it would be really cool. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he had even talked to somebody about, like, they set it up.
What, like you could use their dog?
I don't know what kind of, if it was that person's dog or they were a dog broker that were like, hey, these dogs have been,
Oh, they've been trained to fuck. Okay.
I don't know. It's creepy, let me tell you.
So what now that's one thing that always like kind of bugged me about a sex swing. It's like it looks really fun, but then you think about the logistics of it and you're like, oh my God, dude, it's just too much work. I gotta get a drill, It's like, this is a lot of work to fucking simulate fucking a dog. You gotta get the sleeve and you gotta do Kegels and fucking dilate yourself and shit. Fuck.
I do Kegels all the time. I can grip. So I know how to grip and relax, but I just didn't want
a dog dick though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, fuck no. Anyhow.
I'm not into those videos of the girls with the odd shaped dildos or vibrators though, where it's like a dragon dick or something. I'm like, what guy?
It's disturbing, yeah.
What guy is into the? And again, no judgment, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, why?
I'm not judging either. I'm physically sickened by it, but I'm not judging.
Well, maybe if they like to play Dungeons and Dragons and then they're like, hey, my character likes to fuck.
I'll give you a pass on mythical beasts, okay? Because that's just like imagination land. But if you're fucking an octopus tentacle or a horse cock or a zebra, like it's like killed a zebra, cut its dick off and molded its dick into wax so you could fuck it. That's not, I think there's something. I think you need to have a conversation with your spouse.
Yeah, maybe we need to talk.
I think you need to call your parents and ask if you can go home.
That was it. I was like, I'm ready. And they're like, we knew it. I mean,
we knew that guy fucked dogs.
For real. Like,
this is a question for Shane. Shane, if you would please call on me. Would you rather get fucked by a dog or blow a dog?
Am I calling on you?
No, I'm calling on you. I'm asking the question.
Would I rather get fucked by a dog or blown by a dog?
No, blow a dog.
Oh, I would probably rather get fucked by the dog. It's a male dog, right?
I don't want it in my mouth.
I don't want it in my mouth. Yeah.
I don't want it in my mouth.
Take it in my ass.
It's gross.
Fine. Yeah.
Eliza, you please. Which one?
The pass on everything.
Eliza would call her mom or call her parents and ask to go home from this event too.
Dude, my mom would come too.
Okay, so what do we have on the horizon? Do we have any additional scenes booked coming up or no?
I am actually over at someone's house right now and we're gonna shoot some content tonight.
Fuck yeah.
I have do you know who Rico Blaze is?
Yes,
I don't know.
I do. Yep.
I'm over here doing that because we live very close to each other, so it's a little easier to do that. And then Richard Mann is coming into town with a bunch of guys, and I shall be properly used.
Okay, so let me ask this because I've heard it from other girls too, and we're gonna wrap up soon in a few minutes here. But I have heard. Do you have a desire to? I don't know how to put this. It's not even a negative way. I have 10,000 thoughts going through my head. I've heard it from other girls, and it makes total sense to me. Make your money on OnlyFans. Use mainstream to promote. Basically, shoot a mainstream scene. You're gonna make however much your quote is, but the idea is you're getting it out to 1 million people who are then you're gonna get 2%, 3% of them are gonna come sign up for your OnlyFans, right?
Right.
Okay, so there, it seems like there's a
That's
nice.
what I started in September, shooting as much content as I could.
Sure.
I mean, actually, I don't know when it's going to be released, but I just shot a scene with Charles Dara for Nubiles.
Okay. I know that one.
Soon. I don't know when though. I'll let you go.
So, you know, it's it seems like there's a great synergy there because they're getting content, they're paying a reasonable amount for it. You know, they're not, maybe they're breaking the bank. I don't honestly know, but they're probably not paying extraordinary amounts of money for these scenes. And, you know, you are getting the promotion out of it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You cut off again.
Oh, well, they'll get to use that scene forever. So like the amount of money that they get to make is limitless.
That's what we're learning about these two in terms of YouTube videos and podcasts where we put advertisements on them or whatever. When you've created something, we're still getting downloads from stuff we had 2 years ago when we started this thing. You, as long as you leave up your ManyVids, if you have that account, if you have an OnlyFans, whatever it is, you will always in perpetuity. Now, that'll go down over time if you leave the industry or whatever, but it's so great. It's almost like a royalty check when someone did a movie 20 years ago and they're still getting a check for $50 a month or whatever it is.
Unless you wrote a Motown record.
Yeah. Then some old white guy stole all your royalties. He's still getting the check though. So yeah, it's you know, it's really cool, and the industry is at a really cool point where people can do it. I just hope, and again, I'm not being a fucking dud here, but I hope there's not a lot of negative stories that do come out of the girls who jumped in at 18 maybe too quick. We were talking to my wife's sister. My wife's sister's 21, I think, and you know, we were just talking about the economy and talking about how everywhere's hiring $15 an hour or whatever. No one wants these jobs. And we asked her, we were like, you know, what are your friends doing, this and that? Because she runs her own car cleaning business, like detailing business. She goes, a lot of my friends just sell pictures of their feet online. And it's like, well, I mean, feet is okay because maybe there's not as much exposure in it. But I just worry about the 18-year-old girl working her way through college who then tries to become a teacher at 23 and gets dinged with this stuff, or some kid finds it or whatever. So remember, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about going into the industry, be sure about going into the industry. You have to be sure about it.
I think you should just jump in and have the mindset like, hey, I'm changing the world here. Like maybe I will be a teacher when I'm 30. And I've also had 3 penises in me at the same time. Like, that's okay, you know?
Well, and then they could teach, you know, the scientific, you know, elements of being airtight, and then, you know, have one breathe, and what does the body do?
You turn it into a lesson.
Yeah, it's biology, sure. I mean, I feel like this generation, like my kids' generation, is so exposed to so many different things that it's not really out of the norm. Like,
it's not shocking.
I mean, this is not a great correlation, but like tattoos, you know, before, like when I got my first tattoo when I was 18, it was like, you know, how horrible, you know, that's going to be on your body forever. And it's like, yeah, I know that. But now everybody is getting them and it's just like zero big deal. So I know, like, I've had that conversation. My youngest, she's 15, and she's like, hey, Mom, you should totally like start an OnlyFans. Like, I wouldn't judge. And I was like, well, what makes you think that I haven't already started one? And she's like, okay, girl. And then she like walks away. I'm like, okay.
Oh, so can I tag that? Are they unaware, or do you think they're aware?
They're unaware for sure. Okay. However, if they found out, they would not be surprised. Like,
that's good.
I have a mask from like from the pandemic that one of my hair clients made for me, and it has penises all over it, and they're like hairy and come shooting out. Like, they know that I love dick, you know.
Sure.
Well, we don't like talk about it, but like it's not like I hide it.
It's not a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shane, do you have anything else for Eliza today?
No, I'll just tack that on and say like that's a good way to raise your kids. Like I'm trying to raise my kid the same way. Like I remember one time we were driving through the shittiest part of Reno, next to all these Hell's Angels for what is it? Hot August Nights or Street Vibration, some motorcycle festival, and there's all these old bikers, and my wife turns around to my 10-year-old and she goes, "Hey, should I flash these bikers?" And it's like that's how we should be raising our kids, just with an open mind.
If you take away the taboo of like all of that stuff, I think it leaves less of a way for your kids to be taken advantage of. Like if you can't talk about sex and you can't be comfortable with your body and you're ashamed, or like you got to hide it, and then you get to this age where somebody takes advantage of you and you feel like your fault, or there's a lot of shame around sex and nudity and all of that stuff. Like I just don't want that. I want my kids, guys, my son and my daughters, to be empowered. Like you can talk about it. There's no shame in it. You can come to me if you're uncomfortable with something, or you can ask me questions so you're not in a sticky situation. Or like even the neighborhood kids come over and they talk to me about stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, you should probably go get tested.
if I was if I was the neighborhood kid, I'd be over there all the time too. You don't have a pool, do
I'd
you?
be picking your brain like crazy. Yeah.
I'd be like, does this lump look normal on my penis? Could you just take a look at it real close?
I don't know. I feel like it's just a lot bigger than all the other kids in the locker room.
Is that weird? Is that supposed to happen? All right. Well, we are going to wrap up here. Eliza, you have been phenomenal today. We really love talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I hope this was painless. Let me get your plugs in. If you want to follow Eliza, you're going to go to, remember, it's Eliza Rae, ELIZA RAE, and that's Twitter, Eliza Rae _XXX. Instagram, Eliza Rae _plays, PLAYS, and OnlyFans. Go there, sign up, check out all the stuff she's making. And I'm sure, do you have a link tree or a flow code or whatever they are in there? Do you have a ManyVids account as well?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. So it should be able to follow the link on there.
Okay, so you're gonna go check out her OnlyFans, but go check out everything she's doing, because these are women and people who are independent content creators. So if you're listening to our show, we're not produced like a Rogan or like any of the other major podcasts out there. If you're listening to us, you like real people talking. Go find real people making things and support them. And her OnlyFans is the Eliza Rae. So go check her out, and make sure you let her know you heard about it from us. Or you know what? Some of our fans don't do that. You might ruin it.
Yeah. You're gonna burn the bridge we have with this wonderful performer.
I
will. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Eliza Rae, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Sounds good.